It is Friday.
Yep. Good morning.
We got Kim
We got Kim and us.
and us. I think there's somebody else there, just not they haven't
Yeah.
said hello yet.
All right.
So chime in when you hop in this morning. And
Good morning. Happy Friday.
who knows about the Facebook? Kim likes my event. She said.
Oh, well, that's
Yeah,
good.
But I didn't get a notification that
Okay.
Java and Jesus was on. Who knows about that?
Yeah.
Dennis is on. Jenny's
Hey,
on. Oh, Jim, there
everybody.
you go.
There we are.
Everybody hopping on. Maybe because I don't like jump on my phone, and because Facebook's all about the algorithms. If you hit like or you comment or stuff like that, maybe since I don't do that individually, I don't get the notifications.
Don't you like this?
I do. I like it here. I don't like it there.
Yeah. Okay.
Starting to sound like a Dr. Seuss book. Would
I
you
don't
like it here or
I don't
there?
like it anywhere.
See, that's what I love. He just jumps right in. I didn't have green eggs and ham, but earlier this week I did have scrambled eggs and spam.
That sounds like something you would do.
It's good. I chop that spam up
You
little
like
teeny
that stuff.
tiny and fry it up. You don't have to add any salt. It's got all the salt
That's
you
right.
need.
Yes, it does.
If you want to throw a little pepper on there, you can, but it's got all your salt allotment for the month right there.
Yep.
Well, good morning. It's Friday.
It is Friday. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
It is gorgeous. It got down to 40, so just a little nip in the air, but it was windy last night. Hopefully it won't be today. I don't know.
Yeah, looks like it's dying down a little bit.
I have I got to do stuff at the house tomorrow. Just stuff. My first weekend since I can remember when I can do, so I have to do some stuff.
Gonna split wood?
Actually, so don't let Chris know, but I found out how to do that.
What? How to split wood?
How to get wood split. You get Chris to come over and work on your wood splitter, and
You
then
need something to test it on.
And then, he did it. The carburetor, cleaned it all up and everything, and got it running. Well, then it ran for a bit and quit, and so he came back and did it again, and wanted to make sure that it ran well. So he split the rest of my wood. It wasn't a whole lot, but
all right.
but he.
Well,
I know,
that's
right?
one way of doing
Keep
it.
calling him back. I don't know. I can't keep this thing running.
My problem is the carburetor never breaks down on my wood splitter.
Is it electric?
It's an axe.
Oh. Oh man. Well, and that works if you get good seasoned wood. If you I don't know. Well, mine, I had some big rounds. So if you get the right size and get the wood all dry and everything, it splits pretty easy. That's pretty satisfying, actually. Then.
Yep. It's usually not what I have. It's not quite seasoned yet.
Yeah.
I split it before it's seasoned.
So do you have wedges or?
Sometimes I need them, but
Mhm.
usually I just whack away at it.
Yeah. You chip all those little wood chips. It's not because he has a chainsaw or a wood chipper. That's how he splits his wood when it's really green.
Yeah. I do have an electric wood splitter that I'll drag out occasionally. It's a small one.
Mhm.
And so
Like a 5-ton or something.
I don't even know, but it's also limited in size. So of the logs that you can put on there. So sometimes my logs are just a little bit too big for that.
Yeah, and you have a fireplace, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You bet.
So you can put some.
That's why I'm
Well,
splitting wood.
but it's not an insert or
No,
a
it's
wood
not
burning
an insert.
stove,
No,
so
but
you
yeah,
can get some big ones.
I can have a big one.
Yeah, because 20 inches is about, I don't want to go over that. So
Yeah.
so that 18 inches is probably the smallest I'd want to get. Otherwise, you've got giblets. So your little electric wood splitter, as long as they're not too big around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That happens sometimes, and that's presuming you can actually get the log into the splitter. Sometimes they're just too big to fit.
Yeah.
So anyway,
So
that's why I don't have that problem with an axe.
yeah. So I'll be messing with some wood. I've got to clean it. Just spring is finally I think here.
Yeah, I think so,
I'm pretty
too.
sure spring is here. So do all that. I got to clean up around the yard, and I'll be hauling stuff
Yeah,
off.
I was
and,
just assessing the winter damage of my yard too.
Drove by your house, saw the big deal,
Saw the big hole.
but I didn't. We were on our way somewhere, so we didn't take the time to stop. I was gonna send Dennis a picture of your.
Tell you what, I'll send you a picture. You
Okay,
can send it to
yeah.
Dennis.
Of
It's impressive, Dennis.
The picture is cool. It doesn't do it justice. The picture kind of looks like it's just a little stair step thing. That first stair step is about 15 feet high.
Yeah.
Then it goes up and then back.
Right.
So it's pretty cool. You're getting there.
Yep.
That's a good time of year to start doing stuff like that.
That's right. If I can get
the next guy,
the messy stuff done before the monsoons start, that's what I'm up against.
Well, you still have what, 6 weeks?
Maybe.
Yeah.
All right.
So we're talking about uncluttering, which is that's kind of what I'm going to be doing this afternoon and tomorrow. I'm getting some
good thing to do,
just cleaning up and uncluttering. But as cool as that is to do with your house and with your garage or future garage, you might be one of the 3% of people in Cloudcroft with a garage when you're done with this.
Well, maybe.
Nobody has garages here. Not many. I have seen some of the newer houses.
The newer houses all seem to have garages.
Yeah. In fact, there's one not too far up from you over off of Blanca Vista. I think has like four or five garages.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I'm like, that's my kind of house. In fact, I saw it was probably a meme somewhere, but it's this giant garage workshop with this little tiny house on top. That's a man's house. So uncluttering. Here's what we've talked about. And this week was a little bit harder because I can tell when people are kind of struggling with some concepts. But what I talked about was let's don't say no. We need to say no to the right things. Oh, hey Vicky, good morning.
Hey.
We need to say no to the right things, and that sounds weird, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because we tell our kids to say no to the wrong things, But here's what I mean by that. Say no to the right things. Don't say no to God. This sounds weird. What I mean is don't cut when we're uncluttering. You don't need to cut back on God or family or church. So I said Sunday, and I know this is hard. If you only have time in this life for 3 things, it needs to be those 3. I know what you're thinking.
Okay.
There's a 4th one in there that if you don't do that, you don't get to eat.
We generally call that the job.
The job. So God, family, church, top 3. And for some, there's some that are retired. Work would be right there. And so here's what I want us to dig into today. So I want to ask them. So even if you add the work thing in there, so there's 4 things. Shouldn't we have time for those? I mean, shouldn't you have time in your life for God, family, church, and work? Shouldn't you have time for those?
Yes. Yes, you should.
And so when we talk about this, making those, we'll expand it to 4 because some people are still working. And I know we've talked about this, but everybody's like, well, yeah, Larry, you've got it easy because your 3 and 4 are together.
You have it so easy.
Church is your work. That doesn't mean that I spend any less time when you combine those together than you would. Maybe. Well, I don't know. Your work's ramping up a bit these days.
It is, but we can talk about that.
So what is it about lives of people today that would make, when you tell them that those 4 things have to be top priority and don't let other things crowd those out? So what are some things, why is that hard for people? What are some things that crowd those top 4 things that make that hard to do? And I may be talking, we used to say preaching to the choir. Now people would say to the what?
To the worship team.
Preaching to the worship team. So
I get my visual aid.
there you go. What is it that makes that hard to do? Why is that so hard for people? Because whenever I say that, and that's why I caution people, whenever I say that we need to unclutter, we need to create some breathing room, immediately people start thinking about stuff in church that they can cut back. And we had some this semester. I'm not going to be able to participate this, I'm not going to be able to, I'm going to have to cut back on this. And it's church stuff that usually gets cut. Why is that? What is it in life that makes that so hard? Oh, I got a photo memory popping up here. How many years ago today? I don't know.
Are you getting distracted?
Could be. That's a whole different one. Distraction. That would be a different series. So why is that?
I think it's related. I think there are distractions in our life that are crowding out our priorities.
So you guys tell me what that is. Bethany's hopping on here.
All right.
Happy Friday. It is Friday.
It is Friday. That's why I'm here.
It's Friday. Friday, I'm going to eat an apple pie day. I don't know.
Cinco de Mayo.
It is Cinco de Mayo.
Don't eat a pie.
Let's eat a taco.
Unless it's a Frito pie.
Oh, it's Taco Day. Yeah. Yesterday was the 4th. My nephew posted a picture of his son in a Jedi costume and said, "May the 4th be with you." I like that.
Yep.
So what is it in people's lives that are crowding in and making it hard for people to do God, family, church, and work? Why is it that there are people who don't have time for those 4 things? So I'll ask them. You and I have some ideas, but you guys chime in. Why is that hard? And you might say it's not hard, and it might not be for you because you guys we're preaching to the choir / worship team. I don't know what he means. I mean, the first part I get it.
I don't know. Click the chosen logo.
I think he says lick it, but
oh. Okay.
It's
all right.
So it's
swimming against the stream. I understand that part.
So culture. Oh, there we go. Sports, kids' activities. I think that's big. And not just so kids, but also grandkids. Oh, it's like the. Okay, I got you. I wasn't gonna lick any logo. I'm just saying.
Certainly not gonna lick a fish.
Yeah. Well, only if it's swimming against the stream.
Yeah, right.
So culture. So our culture to make those 4 things priority. It goes against our culture. So Vicky mentioned sports, kids, activities. What are some of those other things that our culture is pushing us to do? Yeah, thanks, Bethany. Jim needs a translator sometimes.
There are always things that we just like to do. I mean, we all have our special interests, hobbies, things like that.
Okay.
And so we feel like we need to make sure we make time for that.
So you guys chime in, help us to understand. You said special interests. So what are some of those other interests or hobbies that would make it difficult for people to make those 4 things the priority? God, family, church, and work. We usually don't have problem making that a priority because we like to eat. I kind of like having a place to live, although I do have a few tents. So what are some of those other interests? What are some of those other things so we've got kids activities. So jiu-jitsu, kung fu, or ballet, or gymnastics, and then the other sports. So kids sports. So I get that. I mean, but what are some other interests that keep people? Because we have about a third of our church, I think, is retired, right? Maybe. A quarter. Some of us are just tired. I'm going to get more tired.
Yeah. That's getting retired.
so what are some of those, not related to kids and stuff, but what are some of those other things? Because I see retired people who have trouble with this. Dog shows on the weekends. So that's work for you. I mean that's kind of what she does.
Oh, okay.
Because she trains dogs and boards and those kind of things. But I see, so people, so you think when you're retired, now you only have 3 priorities and it ought to be easier. So work isn't always the thing. So with God Family Church, so think about, for if you're retired, if you don't have work as that thing in there, and Jenny, I would count that as work for you. What are the things that would make it difficult for them to do? And let me back up just a bit, because here's what I said. This is what we expect, would be a good word to say, for our church. The ABCs. So you attend at least twice a month. That you belong to a community group that meets regularly. That you commit to serve somewhere, and that you share your faith. So that's, and I mentioned, so this is way different than it used to be. When I first became a Christian, we had, so Sunday mornings was an hour of Sunday school, then an hour of church, and then you would come back at 4 or 5 for choir practice, for RAs and GAs back then, or discipleship training, and then church. So you had a good 3 other hours on Sunday night. So you had 2 hours Sunday morning, 3 hours Sunday night, and then Wednesday night was 2 or 3 hours, because you would have, when I was in the youth, so you'd have youth group for an hour, and sometimes choir practice, depending on which church and when they do that, and then the Bible study. So we're talking 5 hours on Sunday and 3 hours on Wednesday, and then anything else you did during the week. So, but it's not like that. We're asking, so we're saying to attend faithfully. So twice a month, belong to a community group that meets, or small group that meets regularly, commit to serve somewhere. And that doesn't have to be physically here. We have other opportunities, and then share your faith. Oh, so Kim says socializing. So they're social. So what kind of things is, would that be? I mean, all of my socializing is within the church.
Well, some of mine is with work.
Work related. So if you're in the
related.
military, or you're still working for DoD,
every now and then there's something that
There's
happens after work hours.
a work dinner or a ceremony or
something
like that you have to go to. And if you're an officer in the military, that's part of it.
Yeah,
you have to do those things.
Yeah.
And especially if
sometimes you're the guy scheduling.
I was going to say, if you're a squadron commander or something like that, then you have to do that for your group. I'm going to throw some out there. You guys, are you ready? I'm going to try to do this it's Cloudcroft, so you would expect this. Maybe, so I don't know if this is a hobby interest. It might combine several together, but we've had people in the past that can't be involved in church stuff because they were so involved in the art community here.
I was going to say art it's a hobby for some. It's a profession for others. But it does take a lot of time.
And not just the painting kind of thing, because you can do that, or whatever your art, but meetings. So you're in an art society. We have art shows. Right. We have all those other. So I'm not sure what we would call that.
There art shows, and a lot of those are traveling art shows. So you have to leave the town to participate in them.
And I'm thinking now of just what people get involved in when they retire. I can't think of a good word to call this, but so I'll tell you. So clock, yeah. So community things. So clock takes up time. my father-in-law, when he first retired, they were in Sun City, which is a retirement community, and this is near Austin, Texas. Uh, I don't know if there might be another Austin. There might be an Austin, Colorado, for all I know. But anyway, Austin, Texas, and he got pulled into their. I'm trying to think of what it's called, but it's like a homeowners association. And so he was like treasurer for homeowners association and that. So then you not only have to do the books and stuff like that, but then you're going to those meetings and then the functions that are happening there, those social functions. Volunteer fire department. That's a big one. Local, local church, not church, local city government, maybe. Yeah. Here we have the village trustees, planning zoning commission, those kind of things.
I have the VFW.
VFW, you're the commander of the VFW. Yeah. Yes, sir. I'd salute you, but I wasn't in the military, so.
Anyway, that takes time.
Chamber of Commerce. There you go.
Yep.
Now the school stuff typically would just be for parents with kids there, but I've seen people who really only have those three that they would have to make priority, but they have made volunteer stuff in school a big, so the school determines their calendar, the school's calendar determines their calendar. What else? What are some other things that crowd out, our top three or top four?
Well, for a long time, I was involved with Scouts too. That was a big chunk of time.
So Boy Scouts. So we could say community organizations, maybe.
Yep, right.
Scouts. What else would it be up here? So I've seen some that this is. You can look at me and tell this isn't my problem. That it's exercise oriented organizations. So we have a cycling group up here. They might do yoga or Pilates. Those and I can't help with this on Tuesday. That's when we do
Bible studies.
Well, no, they would say that's when we do cycling.
Okay, got it.
I can't do that. We have village council meetings.
Right.
Yeah.
And when it comes to exercise related stuff, I was going to throw in, it's a little bit related to Scouts, but just recreation. Hey, I like camping, or I like RVing or something like that. I want to go make sure I do that. I can't do that during the week because I have to work. So I'm going to be gone Saturday and Sunday.
That's really funny. So in the Metroplex where I moved from, Dallas-Fort Worth area, it was a boat. If somebody bought a boat, you weren't going to see them in church ever because on the weekends they would go out to the lake.
Right.
Well, that really hasn't been a problem in our church.
Not too many lakes.
But they get an RV, and so now they're traveling a lot, RVing.
But we have great camping and hiking around here.
Yep.
And if you like doing that, when else are you going to do it? You can't really do that during the week if you're working.
Yep. So that kind of recreational kind of stuff. It's really odd to me. I can see, and so here's, I guess I'm teetering on the fence here. On the one hand, it's hard for me to imagine that kind of stuff can crowd out any of those top three. God, family, or church. And I know, we God and family. I've never heard anybody argue with me on those being in the top three. It's the church one that people say, well, why should that be in the top three?
Explain that.
Because they're like, I have a relationship with God. I can worship God anywhere. I can pray to God anywhere. I can grow in my relationship with God on my own. God and family, man, that's all I need. Then I have lots of time for all this other stuff that I want to do. And if I take my family camping with me over the weekend, then I'm working on family.
Yeah. I was actually going to make that point when you were talking about kids' sports and stuff like that. A lot of people just lump that into family. Oh, that's a priority. Got to do that
Mm-hmm.
because it's all family.
Yeah. My
family has a way of ballooning on you.
one pastor said that we have made our kids experience rich and relationship poor. So we give them all those experiences, but we've not helped them in their relationship with God. We've not helped them in our relationship with them, and we've not helped them in their relationship with other godly people. So there are some that would argue, I don't need to make church the number 3 priority, because we don't need that. We can work on a relationship with God without the community of faith. And so I struggle with that.
Well, you made the point on Sunday that if you have kids, we should be setting an example for them. And if going to church isn't a priority for us, it's not going to be a priority for them.
Actually, so yeah, but it's even worse than that. So it's not just church, and we think of church as in just this building, but really biblically it's the local gathering of believers. And it's different now because we have 6 different denominations here in our village. But it's the community of faith aspect that's important, and not just all believers of all time, which is the big C church. It's a local group. We see that so much in Scripture. Jim and I talked about that some on Wednesday, but we see it in Scripture. But so on the one hand, I struggle with people thinking that way, because I'm like, God, family, church, you really don't have time for those 3 things? I know we got to throw work in there. There's really not time for those 3 things. But I think it may be what you said, that those other things for kids particularly, we lump together with family. So what they're saying is, well, if I do God, family, and work, I don't have time for church.
Yeah, family takes a huge commitment, especially if you have kids.
So we've waxed long. I've waxed long,
yeah.
But so here's kind of my premise on Sunday that I would encourage people to do. Lump God, family, and church together. So don't neglect your family to be involved in church. Include your family to be involved in church.
Yeah. I'd say that church enriches the family experience too.
Yeah.
So make that one of the family activities.
And the stuff that I quoted on Sunday, the reason I did was because what statistically is true is that, so the way that Mark, it's Brandon, I forget his name now, Brandon Park, whatever his name, I had it. Parents who treat church as optional shouldn't be surprised when their kids treat Jesus as unnecessary.
Right.
Because statistically, that's what we see happen. So it's not just that parents who don't make church one of those top 3 priorities, that they just don't go to church. Their kids actually end up walking away. And it's not just church attendance. They need to see that church is a priority. They need to learn that church is a priority. And not just the Sunday morning church, but the community, the local community of faith church. And there's a lot more in that. That's why we call it the ABCs: attend, belong, commit, and share. So, sorry, we went long. This is a big topic.
It is.
So we're going to wind up the series on Sunday.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna do a series called Family.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I might even throw one in there about fish in 3 days and something. I don't know.
Throwing a sermon about licking fish.
Yeah, that was pretty funny, Jim. I'm gonna have to go back, and Jim's gonna try to go and delete his comment now a bit. So lick the logo.
All right.
So let me encourage you guys to keep those as a priority, and help other people understand that. I mean, all that other stuff, I can see how all that stuff we just add, it's just one more thing, just one more. I can do that. I can do that. And then all of a sudden, what we find out is we don't have time for really the top three priorities. Well, work's kind of a given. If you're not retired, you got to work. But then the top three priorities. So let me pray for you guys. Send you out into the weekend. You're gonna get some big stuff done tomorrow in your yard. No,
Probably not. Got some other stuff going on.
I'll get some big stuff done for you.
All right.
I mean, not at your house.
Oh, darn.
At my house, I'll send a picture. It'll make you feel better.
Okay. Sounds good.
Let me pray for you guys as we send you out into the week. Lord, God, help us to help us to keep our lives from getting cluttered up by all those other things that would keep us from focusing on you, our family, and our community of believers. And Lord, help us to teach our kids and grandkids to do the same. Lord, help us to help one another be accountable, to grow in our relationship with you. And God, I know that's hard in this culture that just is constantly teaching and pushing us to just cram more and more and more and more into our lives, whether it's our calendar or our finances or relationships, God, whatever it may be. That we live in a world that says we just got to get a little bit more. Help us to push back against that, to go against the grain. And Father, would you help us to do that in a way that makes us stand out, Lord, that people around would see the comfort and the peace, Lord, that we have in our lives because we're living the way that you've called us to live, and use that, Lord, as a way for us to be able to share the gospel with them. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Oh, things are blooming around.
Yeah, they are.
I can feel it.
The pollen is impressive.
Oh, whew. Yeah. So Jim, you're welcome to keep all of the pollen from whatever blooms in high rolls down there. I know you don't have a lot of choice with the wind, but
yeah.
Well, love you guys. Thanks for hopping in with us. We will see you Sunday, hopefully.
Yep.
And then again on Monday. Love you guys.
Y'all take care.